Welcome to another edition of BS with Bob Schmidt. I am Bob Schmidt. That's Jarrett. Jarrett is the Wisco Dive Bar guy. You may have seen his videos on every platform that's out there. It's funny. I first got introduced to Jarrett by my son wearing a hat. My son was wearing this Wisco Dive Bar hat. I'm like, what's that? He's like, I met this guy, and he was at some dive bar up in northern Wisconsin. And since then, I started watching a bunch of his videos. And then about 2 years ago, I was working at Sweet Swing Inn in Ferryville, Wisconsin. In walks this guy, and I'm like, dude, you're the Wisco Dive Bar guy. And I pulled up a Busch Light, because that's what you were drinking at the time, was Busch Latte. Put it up
Hmm.
on the bar, and we had a beer, and we talked. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but I interviewed you on
Yes.
our Facebook Live there that day.
Yep, I remember that. Gosh,
Well,
was that
welcome.
about a year and a half ago, probably?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming on and being with me. Let's talk about who is Jarrett? Who's Wisconsin? Who's Wisco Dive Bar?
Man, sometimes I ask myself the same question. Um, yeah, it's been crazy. I started doing the dive bar stuff January 14th of 2022. So we're coming up on 4.5 years here. And it's crazy to me how much my account has grown over that 4.5 years. But it's kind of the reason why I started this, because I knew that people absolutely love dive bars, and I do as well. Obviously, I think a lot of people can tell that I'm having an absolute blast doing this. So.
Right. So the one question that I have is everything is great. Great bartender, great blood. Da, da, da. You ever walked into a place like this place is a piece of shit?
Man, that hasn't happened in probably a week. um, but sometimes the divier the better. Though I love gosh, yeah. I've got one coming up here real soon. That's a gem, and it's a place that I was actually at around 3 years ago, and it was a total dive. And I was in the area again, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to not stop back in. And they have not cleaned. They have accumulated a lot more things. So, but there's a dive scale when I'm rating places. I kind of in my head like, what are they at on a dive scale? On a 1 to 10. 10 being, oh my god, what's going on here? But sometimes I dig those places. Sometimes I get in those ruts, I call them, where it's like I hit random places. I'm like, man, they're like the last 7 8 places have been super super nice. Like I love them, but they're not what people really picture as a dive bar. Um but yeah, it's putting a positive spin on every place that I go to, which, man, every single day, the internet and the world seems to be getting more and more negative. And I'm so glad that I decided to do the positive spin on everything right from day one. And that positive vibe follows me everywhere I go, whether it's at a dive bar or a supper club or up on a golf course or at Menards, wherever I'm at. And that's been a huge blessing in disguise. And I'm here to support these businesses. I'm here to do what I do to help these businesses make more money, to get more people to come in. The bars make more money than the bartenders make more money. And a lot of times these bars give back to the community so much. So if all that is going on and they're making more money, they're able to put more money back into the community, whether it's some sort of fundraiser, maybe the Rod and Gun Club, or some sort of charity, or some school event. So it's a full circle thing that I'm doing, and it's what I thought right from day one, and it's working out just as I thought it would. But I maybe a bigger following than I thought, but
Mhm.
I'm good with that.
Well, let me ask you this, because you said you started on January 14th, 2022. What was the significance of that date?
I don't know. It was just the very first bar I ever reviewed. I had the idea to do it. That was the first video I did, and I only had planned. I guess I never thought about other formats. Back then, TikTok was way different than what it is now. I'm not a fan of what TikTok has become, but it is what it is. You just kind of gotta roll with the punches, but that very first video that I posted, Langer's Bar, they call it Far East Ellsworth. It's maybe 6 7 miles east of Ellsworth, between Ellsworth and Elmwood. That video did over 500,000 views on TikTok. So then it was like, holy moly, like I got to go to another bar. Like I've got something here, and I've kind of tweaked the way I've done things along the way. I used to play music over top of, I would do my intro and then I would play music over top of it. Well, the more people that try to copy what I do, because there's a lot of people out there trying to do what I do. I get recognized by voice so much. So maybe a year, maybe 15 months in or so, I started doing voiceover stuff because I started to get recognized by voice, you know, so much, no matter where I'm at. So then I use the voiceover thing because it must be something about my voice that's unique, that stands out. So I actually, use the people that are trying to do what I do, to actually make me get better at doing what I do, which is, I don't have competition. I don't think of it that way, but always trying to evolve and try to, tweak things and make it better. But yeah, I just, whatever I'm doing is working to this point. So,
So, have you gone after any of the people that have taken your videos and claimed them as their own?
I don't think anybody has taken my videos and tried to claim. I mean, there's a lot of fake accounts out there, but there's just other people that are trying to hit dive bars, and there's one person in particular. Like, I'm not going to name them because they don't deserve the shout out. But they followed me around to some bars up in the Hurley area, like 4 years ago, and then decided, after they followed me around, that they were going to try to do what I'm doing, and they're trying to charge bars $500 for a review, which is, so many of these bars that I
Nice.
go to couldn't afford that. And what a slap in the face! I don't charge for reviews. I do my reviews 100% free. You can't go into an establishment and say, "Hey, I'm here to support you. Give me $500." Um,
Right.
like I mean, I think that's an absolute joke, but I mean, that's just how I run my business. I do it because I love these businesses. I love the bar culture in the state. I'm here to preserve them. And I'm here to make them more money. And there's no question whatsoever that these bars have made 100 times more money doing with me doing this than I have, and that's exactly the way I want it.
Jared, did you plan to be an influencer when you started off doing this?
No, no, not at all, not at all.
What's the coolest thing that's happened to you because of the fact that you're the Wisco Dive Bar guy?
Man, that's a great question. I've met so many amazing people, whether it's just bar patrons um, but just getting invited to music festivals, and meeting, famous people that way. I would say maybe the coolest thing, which I think is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I had a guy reach out to me. Now my buddy, Vic De La Cruz, he owns a marketing company, and he was asked by the Packers to, um, do something for the NFL draft. So they pulled me on because they knew I was a carpenter. So basically, we showed up at Lambeau Field 9 days before the NFL draft. Excuse me. We had a 50 by 150 tent that was in the Lambeau parking lot amongst all the draft stuff that was going on, and we turned that tent into a dive bar. It was a Packers Everywhere draft house, the dive bar experience, and so we worked there Thursday, Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday before the draft. And I tell you what, that it was a lot of work, but it was so cool to see everything that was going on. It absolutely wiped me out. But it's something that I could live to be 200 years old and I'll never experience anything like that again. So I would say that's probably the coolest thing that I've experienced.
I watched a lot of those videos during the NFL draft that or right afterwards when you posted those, and I thought that is a cool thing. So you actually helped to build that whole area?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was cool to be. I had the credentials, so I could go anywhere that I wanted to. I could go when they were building the draft stage, like after we got done working, or maybe even just during a quick lunch break. I would walk down there and I'd look up at that. I mean, structure, like it was right next to the rush center, and it dwarfed the rush center. It was crazy. It's the NFL. It just shows how big the NFL is, but man, and I was so impressed with how Green Bay handled that whole thing. It was it. everything went pretty smooth. And one of the big things too that the Tavern League stepped in, and they were running free shuttles from Tavern League establishments, from Lambeau Field to Tavern League establishments for, to hotels or whatever. And they had so many of those out there. And I did a video on that, letting people know that that's what was going to be happening. And I think that saved people a lot of hassle. I think, and maybe even it saved some lives, with obviously cutting down the drunk driving. But it was a pretty well-oiled machine. I mean, kudos to Green Bay for hosting such an amazing event and having it really go off without a hook, really.
Yeah. So, how would you consider, or how would you define what a dive bar is?
Oh, that's the thing about a dive bar is that there's no set criteria on what it is. I mean, obviously cash only. You think dimly lit. Cheap beers. Maybe your true dive bars don't even offer food. Maybe snacks. Maybe some pork rinds, some pickled eggs or whatever behind the bar. But it's and at the same time, I think it's just a community center of the town. And I've been to so many great bars. Whether there's been bars where the bar is the town. I've been to Wolski's in Milwaukee, which is obviously the biggest city in Wisconsin. Like, there's just so many great bars, whether it's in Milwaukee, Madison, Green Bay, all over the bigger cities, Lacrosse, and uh, um, uh, but the ones out in the middle of the country that's surrounded by farms. I mean, they all have their own vibe. Some of them may look kind of similar, but people that go to these dive bars know that every dive bar seems to have its own niche, has its own feel and its own memories. So I think every single one is totally different in my eyes.
Difference between a dive bar and a neighborhood bar.
Gosh, I there might be that's a good question. Um, I love those neighborhood bars like Wolski's, like I just mentioned. Like Walker Inn, down there in West Allis, corner or kind of edge of West Allis, Milwaukee. I don't know. I don't know that I could even answer that. There's the neighborhood bars. Strasser's in Lacrosse was one that I've hit recently.
That's the first bar
Amazing.
that I. That's the first bar that I bartended at was Strasser's.
Really.
I learned
That
my
is
skill there.
such
My
that is
Can I
such a
just
cool
tell you a real
place.
quick story about that? My
Yeah.
first day bartending, I was a radio guy for 30 years, and I got laid off in 18. A friend of mine was the manager there. She said to me, she goes, "You'd make a great bartender." I'm like, "I would rather sit on the other side of the bar and drink." She's like, "Just trust me, you will love bartending." I'm like, And my very first day there, Jarrett, I was working. I had no idea how to. I mean, when somebody asked for a screwdriver, I'm like a Phillips or a regular. I didn't know. It's one of
Yeah.
those things. And this old bartender that was there, Paulie Sherman was his name. He said to me, he was sitting out. He was a patron that day. He's like, "You're gonna be a great bartender." I said, "I don't know what the hell I'm doing." He goes, "Doesn't matter." He goes, I watched you not knowing what you're doing, talk to every single person here that's in the bar, and you made conversation, and you like hop from person to person. That's exactly what a bartender does.
Yeah. And I was just at a friend of mine's bar here the other day, and I asked them. I know they just had a new bartender start, and I asked the owner. I said, "Well, how's the new bartender?" And like, I think she's gonna be all right. I said, "But you can have the owner or the manager train a bartender in, but the people that really train bartenders in are the locals. Those are the ones that really train a bartender in, whether it's going to make them or break them, and which is a good thing. I mean, it's that family, the family aspect of a dive bar, and they'll let them know, and it's cool how so many bartenders know exactly what patrons drink, like they remember. Um, so I know I throw people a curveball now that now that Yingling is in Wisconsin. I gave up the Bush Light, and I love all the Yinglings, but Yingling Flight is definitely my go-to. But so sometimes
Okay,
I switch it up on
I have to
people.
challenge you on that. I love Yingling also. I've loved Yingling for a lot of years, and I've had people bring it to me when they've been up. And living in Ferryville, I get people that have cabins up in this area that live in Illinois. They used to bring it up to me before we had it up here, and I've loved Yingling for a long time. I was in Ohio 7, 8 years ago, and I was at this bar, and they had a bunch of different Yinglings on tap there. And there was a Hershey's Yingling that I tried, And Jared, here's where I'm going to have to say that was the shittiest, one of the shittiest beers I've ever had in my
Really?
life.
I've
Terrible.
they don't is that still a thing? Do they still? I don't
I
think
don't
they.
know.
I think maybe that was a special edition one. Yeah, I don't. I never did try that one.
Okay, so
But
then
the flight, the traditional lager, the light lager, the black and tan, the porter. Like I pretty much tried
perfect.
all of them when I was out at the brewery here a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I was a little jealous of that when I saw that video. I'm like, damn, you're a lucky dude that gets to go do that. So I have a thing when I go to a new bar, unlike what you do, but my thing is I always ask for a shitty beer. Like, give me your shittiest beer, and a lot of bartenders look at me like, are you on drug? What's going on? And I've had a lot of Busch Lights, I've had a lot of Coors Lights, I've had a lot of typical beers, but I had one beer in my career of going to bars that I couldn't finish. It was that bad. It was a terrible, terrible beer. And I don't know if I should say it. I'm going to say it. It was a Dogfish Ale, Dogfish Head 120.
Yeah, okay. I think I've heard of it.
It
Um,
was terrible.
really. Yeah, there's a bar over in Port Washington I've actually been there twice in the last year, and they have over 1,000 different beer selections. Sir
A
James Pub in
thousand?
downtown. Yeah, over 1,000 beers. It's
Wow.
I don't know how they stock it all. But it was cool. The second time I was there, I was just there off the clock with some friends, and they're like, so my Casey and Vinny, husband and wife, they own bar number 1,000. They own the Curve Inn in Kewaskum. And I went in there with them, just kind of chilling, and Vinny told the bartenders like, well, I'm looking for something like we just ate, I'm looking for kind of like a dessert beer, like an after dinner beer. So the bartender goes and grabs three and sets them in front of them and kind of explains what each one is. And Vinny's like, well, yeah, I think I'll take this one. And that's really cool that, I mean, the bar, I don't know how many bartenders they have, but to know what every single beer is pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's very
That's
incredible.
yeah, it's definitely even now, like just your regular bars, the beer and drink selection now versus 30 years ago is mind blowing.
Hmm.
I don't know how bars decide which, what they're going to stock, what they're not. I mean, there's so many different of the seltzers out there now. It feels like there's 10 different flavors of 15 different kinds of seltzers. I don't know. I don't drink that stuff, but yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that Sir James Pub in Port Washington was pretty impressive.
So, have you ever been to the Bodega in La Crosse?
I have not.
Okay, because that's right downtown La Crosse. I know that when you were down there, I didn't know if you were in that
Yeah.
area, but they've got a lot of. I don't know how many they have, but they have a ton of beers. They've got a ton on tap, and they've got a bunch of bottles. They've got a big old wheel that you can spin. That if you don't want to know what you want, you spin it, and if it lands on 72, they grab you beer number 72.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that way. So you said that you went, that your friends from bar number 1,000, and I was listening to a podcast that you did earlier just to kind of prep for this, and you were at like bar 850 at the time, and they said that you did like 22 bars in a weekend. But I don't know. But
Yeah.
how many bars? How many bars have you done now?
In Wisconsin, 1,229.
12. So how many dive bars are there, or what you would consider a dive bar in Wisconsin if you've done 1229?
Gosh, I mean, I have no idea how many dive bars per se there are
Mm-hmm.
in Wisconsin, but according to Keith Kern, the Tavern League president, he told me there's around 9,000 bars in the state. So, and
Wow.
I'm all for supporting all the bars. As long as they're
Mm-hmm.
locally owned places, as long as they're not chain places. I love seeing all sorts of different kind of bars, whether they're nice or dives or somewhere in between. They're just always filled with the nicest people,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes my stops are so random, and a place might look like a dive on the outside, and I pull in, and it's like I open the door, and I'm like wow, like this is not what I expected. Sometimes it's vice versa. But I walk into a bar and I'm like, well, this place is too nice. I'm not going to turn around and walk out. Like I'm gonna have a blast and chat with the locals and do what I do.
That's funny. Oh, yeah. See ya. Hey,
Yeah,
have you ever been to the Lead Mine Tavern?
I have. Um, that's a great place. They're known for their Long Islands.
Yes. So
Yeah.
we took a trip down to Galena a few weeks ago, a month ago or so, with some friends, and my buddy Kevin is from that area, so he drove back, and we ended up at this bar, and there was UTVs all over the place, a couple of cars, a few motorcycles, and like three cars. And we walk in, and the place was packed. There's a bunch of people sitting outside of the bar, and I'm like, well, this place looks like a dive bar. I mean, just kind of joking, and the guy just started laughing. We walked in, $8, you get a 32-ounce drink. I
Yeah.
mean, and it wasn't just a two or three shots. She was like pouring booze in. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
as a bartender, I'm looking at that. I'm like, I would get fired if I made that drink for somebody
yeah.
for $8.
Yeah, and that place, it's not. I wouldn't. That place isn't divey, really. I mean, it's nothing fancy,
Right.
but they do have a beautiful music venue out back there. Like, I would love to go back and see live music there.
I would
Um,
too. I would too.
I was there. I have a buddy of mine, an ex roommate of mine, who lives in Monroe, and gosh, will it be 2 years ago in October that we were down there, and we bar hopped from Monroe to the southwest corner, and I mean, we
Mhm.
had a hell of a good time, and Leadmine was one of the places that we hit. Yeah, that's a great place for sure, and their staple, like that's their calling card, is their Long Island's.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how cheap it was and how good the drink actually was. Do you remember all the bars you go to?
I do. Yeah. I have a photographic memory. Sometimes it pisses my fiance off because I remember everything about these bars, but I just forget the simplest things when it comes to our relationship on things I'm supposed to do or go or whatever. Yeah, I'm
So you're
I'm
a
such a guy.
typical man is what you
Yeah,
what it
right.
boils down to.
Yeah, it's
So
it is crazy. I think I just turned 49. I think I realized when I was probably 18, 19, maybe, that I had a photographic memory, that I was remembering things that I really shouldn't. Um, and now yeah, it's so much of it is useless knowledge. I will admit, but I love being able to, somebody names a bar, and sometimes the names kind of blend in. I have to try to figure out, you're like, oh yeah, 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 that bar, but I could tell you the layout of the bar.
all right, I'm gonna test you on that right now
Okay,
because
let's see
you were
see
in my
how good
bar.
my memory is.
You were in a
Yeah.
bar a year and a half ago. You were at Sweet Swing Inn, Fairville, Wisconsin. I was bartending. Tell me about what you remember about that bar.
Kind of a was it a I don't know if it's not. It kind of probably is kind of considered a corner bar, right?
No, we were in the
Like, it's
middle of
not
town.
it's not on a corner, but the front door is the corner of the building per se.
Yeah, it's
So
exactly
you go up
correct.
there.
Yes,
The bar is off to the left. It's a full wraparound bar.
it
You can walk
is.
all the way
Yes.
around it.
Yep.
You got seating back to the right. Seating up to the right against the windows to the right as soon as you walk in the door as well. Um, yeah, I mean, I think gambling machines. Where were the gambling machines? I don't know
Back
if
to
they were.
they're back to the right, but
Yeah,
impressive that you
yeah,
remembered that part.
yeah.
That's awesome. So I want to go to Facebook right now. I had posted that I was going to be interviewing you, and I posted it on my Facebook, and I got some pretty good questions on there. If you don't mind that I ask you a couple of these.
Go for it.
All right, my friend Sandy said, "Have you ever stopped at a dive bar which was too much of a dive that you just couldn't shoot a video?"
Absolutely not. The ones that are the total dives, I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to get this edited and show it to people because it's gonna go crazy for views. So I think sometimes divier the better. The more shares, like, people are just that shock and awe, where it's like, what in the world is going on at this place? The divier the better. I mean, uh, yeah, sometimes I leave those bars with way more questions than I have answers, but that's okay.
Have you ever been to a place that you're like, somebody needs to call the health department on this place?
No, I haven't, but White Creek Tavern north of the Dells, which I say is the diviest dive in the state. And I was like, I don't know how they're open. So many people have asked me. I'm like, I have absolutely no clue how the health department doesn't stop in. I don't know if there's some sort of grandfathered in or what. And
You need a shot
I just
before you
hope,
go in there.
yeah, and I just hope that the me doing videos there doesn't get them shut down. But then I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? If my video gets them shut down, it's kind of their fault. Like, what's going on? Kind of pick up a little bit, but you know.
So when I first moved to La Crosse, the arterial was right around the corner from where I lived, and they used to have a liverwurst sandwich. It was like $1.50. It was on white bread. It was just served with mustard and onions. It was actually a good sandwich for $1. But are any dive bars right now having those types of meals? Neil asked that question on Facebook, like Limburger cheese, bologna, onions, and crackers, things like
Uh,
that.
there is actually a bar in. I don't know if it's. People in Milwaukee get pissed at me because I'll say I'm in Milwaukee, and like you're not in Milwaukee, you're in Bayview. So I think this is the Bayview area of Milwaukee. There's actually a bar called the Trailer Park Tavern where you can actually buy Lunchable, like an actual Lunchable, like I used to feed my kids when they were 6. Um, I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. And they have Twinkies there as well. They have a dive bar date night where they have a bottle of Cristal and a Twinkie for like $300. You'd think if you bought a bottle of Cristal, you'd get 2 Twinkies if it's a date night, but hey, you got to split the Twinkie. But
Well,
um,
that way they can Lady and Tramp the Twinkie.
yeah, the Twinkie, yeah. Um, as far well, there's another place too that I went to, the Chimney Inn in Waiwega, southeast or southwest of Appleton ish area. They have spam fries, deep fried spam fries,
Ooh, that
and
would be good.
they were really, really good. They were really good. Um, I would get those again in a heartbeat. And I don't know that I've ever eaten spam in my life. I remember my dad eating it growing up, but I don't know. But
Did
yeah,
you
these
say
are
and
cut
did you say and throwing up or while growing up?
while growing up. While growing up,
Okay,
yeah.
I
While,
thought you
while I was
said he
growing up, I
ate it
remember
and threw up.
back in the early '80s. Like I remember my dad eating spam, but he was also eating like Limburger cheese too, yeah, Limburger and what the heck else was he eating? He would eat just the weirdest stuff sometimes. Oh, sardines as well, but no, these spam fries they're cut like French fries, and they must give you they must cut the whole can of spam because they come served like they're sticking up in the spam container.
Wow.
Well, I don't
That
know. I don't know how long they've been doing that, but I highlighted in my video of the Chimney Inn and why we got a bar. It's an intersection out in the country. Beautiful place, awesome people. Definitely a dive bar.
have you? I was gonna ask if you were ever at the Bad Axe Country Club, but you were because I saw a video and my friends were actually in the background. So skip that question. So
Yeah, that was just recently, like within it was sometime in May.
yeah, and
Yeah,
then
sometime.
the owner of that Cindy actually passed away like right after you were there.
I did hear that like a week and a half after. Yeah, that's too
Yeah,
bad.
I'm glad that you had a chance to get there. Did you get a chance to meet her while you were there?
Yes, she was there. Yeah.
So the weird thing about that bar, you can't say the F word. If you say the F word,
Right.
you get warned once. Second time costs you $1. Third time, hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah. That's
Which
a cool place. But you have to be going to that bar to find it.
oh,
That's the old like
absolutely,
it is
it's a
such a
destination,
yes, absolutely, 100%. I love that place.
and I love going because it's from my place. It's a UTV ride. I mean, it takes a while to get there, but you have to do like all these back roads and whatnot. But
Yeah.
it's such a blast. Scott asked the question about the best dive gentlemen's club.
Well, I guess I actually have reviewed a gentleman's club. Sugars in Hager City, right across the river from Red Wing, Minnesota. Um, that used to be a dive gentleman's club. I actually the company when I was a carpenter, the company that I worked for, we actually built the stage for that place. So if people go in there and frequent Sugars, yeah, I built the stage. There's a lot of cabinetry stuff that we built. Everything is kind of pink and black in there. And Bella that owns the place, she is awesome. And we actually put a new kitchen in her house up, and I won't say where she lives, and some near the cities, but she was wonderful to work for. But
All right.
yeah, so we renovated that strip club. So I guess that's the only one. So it's the one of one.
Did you try the pole?
No, I did not. I've never been on a pole, but I tell you what, I was up in Hurley the end of March, and there may have been a dollar store or two on my travels up there. I will say that. So that's why I call a strip club as a dollar store. I don't ever come back with dollar bills from Hurley. I don't know why. I don't. It's all
No,
fives and tens that I have left.
that's yeah. I may or may not have been at a place or two. There's actually one 8 miles from here. So you've actually been doing like I haven't seen this until more recently. Bathrooms. Walk into a bathroom. Here's the dive bar bathroom. Ever been to a place that was just like, nope. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go outside.
Well, some of them, like the Plywood Palace up in Muckwa, just 10, 15 minutes west of Ashland. Like that's what you have to do. You have to go outside. Um, yeah, like I was saying, that White Creek Tavern, it, horrible. It's horrible in there. If it's warm out, yeah, it's not good. But yeah, sometimes the bathroom experience is a whole different experience, and that's well, one of the reasons why I film the bathrooms in a lot of the bars is because sometimes it's a whole different experience. You're like, what in the world is going on here? Another thing is too, we got a lot of people kind of trying to do what I do. They're just Googling pictures and posting pictures and whatever. Good
Hmm.
luck Googling a place and finding the picture of the bathroom. So,
Right.
so it's just another way to set myself apart. But it's, especially up north, it's you go in these bathrooms and they're just peppered with stickers. I, that's a thing all over the state, but definitely up north, definitely where the snowmobile trails are at. It's just the bathroom mirrors and everywhere are just peppered with stickers in the bathrooms. There's a lot of
So
funny ones in there, but
Pike's Bar in DeSoto, Wisconsin. They just got a new owner. Pork sold it to Crystal.
yep,
Crystal now has the
yep,
bar. And I was in there a couple weeks ago because they make the best pizza. They have great pizza, great roasted chicken,
yep,
whatnot. And I walked in the bathroom and there's boobs right there next to right in front of the urinal.
really.
I tagged you in it in the picture, but I walked in there and I actually laughed out loud. I'm glad I didn't have beer in my mouth because I would have spit it.
Yeah. So I was there. I know it was the weekend after the 4th last year because it was while I was in town for Country Boom. Crystal's great. Everybody there, so great. And Porks is such a iconic place, and I love that. I love the name Pike's Den. What is their slogan? Beers
Um,
is
beer,
something
the drinks
something with your
are stronger than your fish stories or something like
story. There you
that.
go. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was. We stopped in there, and my fiance and I had a wonderful time. Stopped in there, and I maybe had a couple beers and just chatting with everybody. They're amazing place, amazing people. It's one of those bars that I'm glad I don't live 10 or 15 minutes from there because I'd be there every single day and I wouldn't have a gig. So
So when you were there, have you ever met Pork that used to own it?
I didn't. No.
He's a character too. I see him. He actually because I work for his brother at Swede Swing Inn. His brother owns that, and he'll come in and hell. Honestly, a lot of people out here are just great people. I love it. So, do you remember I heard you say that you remembered the first time you had a beer at 12 years old. I heard that in another podcast. So, do you remember the first time you got drunk?
Oh man. Good question. You know, it probably happened. It probably happened in Madison. And I was probably like 13. So my hometown, Spring Valley, which is for people that don't know, it's kind of halfway between Eau Claire and the Twin Cities, kind of to narrow it down between Menominee and River Falls, right on Highway 29. We're kind of 20, 25 minutes from Menominee, River Falls. So our boys basketball team, when I was in eighth grade, Yeah, I was in eighth grade. We made it to the boys made it to state basketball for the first time in like 60 years, and went down to Madison. It was a party. That may have been the first time that I got drunk. And we ended up taking second that year. Won the semifinal game, lost in the championship to Schellsburg, which obviously is down in that southwest corner. And then the following year we went back, and then we won state. Actually beat Cassville, another team down in that southwest corner. But yeah, I think I got drunk off of wine coolers down there in Madison. Um, and I drink one wine cooler now, and I would have acid reflux so bad that I'd probably be puking. But gosh, I would say I never thought about that. That is a great question, but I would probably say the first time that I caught a real heavy buzz would be probably in Madison, somewhere probably outside the Howard Johnson in Madison. I don't even know if that's still a place down there, but
I'm sure a lot of drunk stories start and end in Madison. To be honest with
yeah.
you, we've all had those moments. Any alcohol that you can't drink anymore?
Malort.
You and I did a shot. You and I
Yeah,
did a shot of
I
Malort.
um Nah, I went through a stretch. I went through a stretch where I couldn't have doctor. Just regular doctor. We're both old enough when I say doctor, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The peppermint. Um, but I don't think there's anything that. I mean, Yag is horrible.
Have you tried the orange?
I have not.
It ended up in the bar the other day, and I pulled it. I'm like, what the hell is it? It's not bad. It has that weird Jägermeister flavor, but it's also got like a strong orange flavor to it too.
Interesting.
Ever had Tingala?
I don't know that I have.
Next time you're in this area, stop in and see me again because I will hook you up with that because it's just it's one of those. It's got like a buzz flower to it or something. You put it in, you lick your lips, you let it sit in your mouth for a second before you swallow it, and it's like those old Zot candies. Your mouth just kind of waters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I was recently actually the last time I was in La Crosse, I left there and went about a little over 2 hours straight east over to Princeton. I went to Tim's Hardware Store, which is a newer bar. I believe they opened like maybe last October. It's the basement of a motel office that they put this Tim's Hardware Store in. So we did a little video over there doing a taste test where we each did a shot of Malort, and then they also had barrel aged Malort, which, believe it or not, they actually make a worse tasting Malort than just Malort. That stuff was horrible. Um, and so here's the funny part, because they're great on social media too.
They're awesome.
Yeah, and so we did the video, and so the wife the owns the place, she had her phone on the tripod, whatever, and we got done, and she went to hit stop on her phone, and she kind of had this weird look on her face, like what's going on? She's like, my phone memory's actually full. It stopped recording like halfway through, so we didn't get the shots on video. And she's like, well, we can just fake it. I said, no, like we need two more shots. Like we got to do this. Like we got to do the shots on video. So I actually did two shots of Malort and two shots of barrel aged Malort. I think the second one was maybe more of a half shot, maybe. Um, but yeah, still, it was. That stuff was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
So I've got a great Malort story. Kind of goes for a while, if you don't mind me telling it.
No, go for it.
So my dad said my grandpa used to drink Malort. My dad is from Chicago, from the Chicagoland area, and so my grandpa used to drink Malort apparently, and he told me about it. So I tried to find it for a while. Finally found it 7-8 years ago, and I was at this bar in Chicago. I ordered a shot of Malort. Guy at the end of the bar goes, "I'll buy it for you." I said, let me get my first one because it was my grandpa's drink. I want to, drink it for my grandpa. He goes, I'll get your second. I'm like, that's cool. So I did the shot. I'm like, it was terrible. Second shot I did was on the guy down the bar. And he goes, if you drink a third one, you're part of the Malort Club. I'm thinking, oh, why the hell not? So I drank the third shot of it. The next day, driving back from there to La Crosse, just burping and tasting Malort every single time after that. Well, fast forward to when I started working down in Ferryville at a bar down there, and I brought some in, and I gave it to my boss. Unbeknownst to him, it was terrible. He had that look of disgust on his face. Started watching that commercial, the unaired Malort commercial. I'm sure you've probably seen it.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
Charles Jepson the fourth or whatever, and I've played that video 1,000 times at the bar when I'm working, and I say, if you laugh, you do a shot of it with me, you buy a shot, and if you don't, the bar will buy you a shot, and you'll have to do it. So all the times I've done it, one person didn't laugh. They wanted a shot of Malort just to see if it was bad as it was, and it was. But my favorite reaction, Jared, was this lady did a shot. She stopped after she did it. Like every look of bad decision in her whole life was on her face. You could just tell that everything that she's ever had in her whole life that's gone wrong was right there on her face. She looked up, and she says with a straight face, "It's like a skunk and a raccoon fucked in my mouth." I busted out laughing. That was the best description of anything I've ever heard. I actually sent that to Jepson's Malort, and they never got back to me. But I thought that was a great description of what it tastes like.
It's not a bad description. Yeah, I don't even like a sweaty gym sock is another one that I've heard. Like,
Flung out.
yeah, yeah, it'd be like at the end of a night of a long shift, dumping this into a glass and taking a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, Christian on Facebook asked, "Have you ever thought about doing like a Google map or anything and putting the pins of all the places that you've gone to with like the 5 out of nine, 8 or 9 or 10 Yinglings out of whatever, and post that so that way people can go there and see what bars are close to them?"
WiscoDiveBars.com. Go
There
on
we
my
go.
website. Every bar location I've been to is pinned. Say you go to Green Bay for a Packer game, and you go to a Packer game, it's a weekend thing. So you go over on Friday, and you're like, gosh, I wonder where the good bars are in Green Bay. So you can zoom in on Green Bay. You can click on any pin. It'll pull up my video from that place on YouTube, and then there's a blue button that says navigate here. It'll give you GPS coordinates to get right to it. So WiscoDiveBars.com. That's been a thing for 3.5 years. So
Wow. So let's talk about your social media. Wisco Dive Bars with an S.com.
yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so what's Wisco Dive Bar reviews? What's that?
So when I initially started this, and like I said, that first video took off on TikTok. I'm like, well, I'm going to need Facebook. So I'm just in a hurry throwing, getting, socials and getting the names, like, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So I created my Facebook account, but I created it like I was creating a Facebook account for myself, like a personal one. Well, then that started to take off, and I'm like, gosh, they maxed me out at 5,000 friends. So I'm like, how is this going to work? I'm like, I should have created a business page. So so I have a Facebook page, which is my Facebook page that I can have as many followers as I want to. Well, then I fought with Facebook to try to get my Facebook account over to a business page. I fought with them for 3 years. Now that's a business account now too. But so yeah, so there's two there's two different Facebooks, and I just didn't want to delete one, because of one I've got 70, I don't even know, 72, 73,000 followers. The other one, which was my original one, 170 something, 175, 178, something like that. So yeah, it's kind of confusing, but it's one of those where I wish I could combine the two of them. It would make it easier for me,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that's why I have the two different Facebooks, because I honestly didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I had no idea that this was going to blow up the way it did. So,
Well, I just wanted
um,
to make sure that they're both you because
yeah,
I've responded to both of them, and you've responded to both to me on both of them, which I think is very cool.
yeah. And if people reach out to me, whether it's either one of my Facebooks, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Threads, like if people shoot me a message, I will get back to them. Sometimes I'm on the road and I'm busy, and sometimes I'm out and I don't even have cell phone service. It might take me a few days, but I will respond to every message that I get. And it's always me on the other end, 100%. Nobody else has access to this account. Like I do all the videoing, I do all the editing, I do every single thing when it comes to Wisco Dive Bar reviews. I mean, my fiance helps, sell merch and stuff like that if we're at places, sometimes, and and kind of stopping my head from spinning to point it in the direction that I need to go. She'll help me with that too. But as far as everything business wise, it's always me 100%.
How long does it take you to edit a video?
It all depends. So I've learned to video in a way that makes my editing easier. And a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll go out on a weekend trip and I'll hit, say I go out and hit 10 bars, and then when I get home, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll edit all 10 videos and get them laid out, and then do the voiceover. Go to the next one, do the voiceover. Next one, voiceover. Next one, voiceover. And then I'll drop, one a day, or maybe one in the morning, one at night. I've been dropping one in the morning and one at night recently because I've been on a little bit of a tear. I think since May 1st, which is like, what's the date? The 8th. So 39 days since May 1st, I've reviewed 60 bars in 6 different states, and in 30, yeah, 37 days, whatever it is, 38 days.
That that's nuts. So how do we find merchandise? Where do you get that?
My merch, if you, I know I need to post it more on my Facebook, but in my bio, especially like on Instagram and TikTok, there's a link tree where you can click on there. It's kind of weird because my hats come from a company in California, but all my other merchandise comes from Furlong Design Studios in Diamond Bluff, Wisconsin, right on Highway 35, a little unincorporated town, but they do have a great dive bar, which I'm going to be at that bar tonight for a Tavern League meeting. The Naughty Hog, big biker bar. But yeah, so everything you can order on there, and then Carrie that owns Furlong Design Studio, she's amazing. She'll sometimes throw me ideas for merch, and then I'll be like, heck yeah, or maybe I'll tweak a little bit, and maybe I'll throw her an idea, and maybe we'll go with it, or she'll tweak a little bit. So works out really well. But yeah, I think we do like anything over $60 is free shipping. We try to. I'm not selling, you know, 70, $80 hoodies, or, $40 t-shirts. I try to keep my costs down as much as I can. It's early on is really what helped get me to this point. It was my merchandise sales. My merchandise sales helped pay for a lot of my traveling because I do a ton of traveling.
Right.
I put on around 40,000 miles a year. Um, my truck gets 20 miles of the gallon, so you can, at $4 a gallon, that adds up quick.
So I know that you've got a deal with Quick Trip because I saw you do some of the Quick Trip stuff when they had the influencer day.
Hmm.
Paige, by the way, is from this area. And then Chris, did you meet Chris, the big tall guy that part of their
Yes.
team?
Yep.
So I used to work with Chris in radio years ago. So it's
Okay.
kind of cool when you do a shout out to those guys.
Yeah. Paige, Sam, and Hayden are great, and Chris. Paige, Sam, and Hayden are kind of the girl. The influencers. They're the ones that do a lot of the social media stuff. And it was funny when we were down there for that influencer day, and I took those three girls out to the bar. We hit some bars down, the college bars, and it was so funny. We were walking down the street, and people were stopping me and wanting pictures and high fiving me, and we'd walk into bars, and people are just handing me beers, and these girls are like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "Welcome to my world. Like, this is crazy." And to me, they're celebrities to me. They're kind of my bosses. I view them as that. I've been with Quick Trip for, gosh, 3.5 years, probably 3.5 years now. I love that. I love the gas station. I love everything they stand for. I love everybody that I've met that works at Quick Trip. Doing Wisconsin content and having a partnership with Quick Trip is, um, they were the first ones to reach out to me and,
That's awesome.
form a partnership. So, and it's been great. And then Nicolay Law jumped on board. Russell Nicolay, he's such a good guy, and I've been with them for 3 years, a little over 3 years as well. And I asked them, it's like 3 years or 3.5 years ago. I said, I emailed them. I'm like, hey, I just wondering if you guys would, be interested in doing a toy drive. This might have been like September or October. I said, would you guys want to team up and do a toy drive together? And they instantly emailed me right back, said, absolutely, we're in 100%. What do we need to do? I emailed them back. I said, I have no idea, but we'll figure it out. So, so we've over the last 3 years, like we've done a toy drive the last 3 years, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and everything that we get goes to big brothers, big sisters, and it means a lot to me to do what I do to not only give back to the bars, but to give back to the less fortunate people, especially the kids. For me to be able to throw my name on something and do some work on my behalf, sometimes I can do a little bit of work and make a huge difference.
Hmm.
Sometimes it is a lot of work to do the whole toy drive thing, but I mean, I just love to give back, and that's why I love these dive bars, because they do that. So I've gotten into that same thing where I just love to give back, just like they do. So yeah, definitely helps, having the help of Nicolay Law, and then like my beer fridge here, my Iron Mountain Refrigeration beer fridge, like they're a partner of mine. Obviously, Yingling, Bernatello's Brew Pub, lots and lots of pizzas. They're a partner of mine, and so that's how my sponsors are exactly why I can afford to travel as much as I do and not charge bars a penny. They are a huge help. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without them. I love what to create something and have so many people rally around you and support your crazy idea, knowing how much work goes into it. It's like when I retired from my carpenter job, I was working 40 hours a week, and people have told me, well, it must be nice to be retired. I'm like, yeah, now I'm only working 120 hours a week instead of 160.
Yeah, but you get
So
to drink when you're working, Jared.
yeah, I do. It's been one hell of a ride, and I feel like we're gonna get way bigger. There's no question. So
You're doing the right thing, man. I appreciate the stuff that you're doing. What's the lowest rating you ever gave a bar?
I think I have my lowest rating coming soon. The bar that I was telling you that I was at a few years ago that has progressively gotten worse. Um, I think the video's all edited. I just have to. I'll be dropping it here later this week. I think I gave him a 2, and I don't know what I
A
don't know,
two?
but I said, on a dive scale, I mean they are off the charts. On a 0 to 10, how divey are you? They're a 117. But it's all everything is positive. But there's just times where you're just like, all right, what the hell are we doing here? You know, um, when it knocks you down a couple points when you got a guy sleeping on your pool table. I will say that.
Was it the bartender?
No, I believe it was a bartender's maybe son or something. But and here's like when so it's not only when somebody's sleeping on the pool table, but when there's enough stuff piled on the pool table that you don't even notice a guy sleeping on the pool table right away. So
Oh,
so
I think I want to. I'd like to go to that bar.
yeah.
Honestly, just from us talking right now, that would be a bar that I'd be interested in
So I'll
stopping
tell
at.
you, it's RW's bar just outside of between Fairchild and Neilsville, right on Highway
Okay.
10.
All right. Oh,
Um,
you mentioned them a little bit earlier, didn't you?
yeah, it's that place is oofta, oofta. Yeah, yeah, I'll probably be dropping that one. Yeah, this coming week for sure.
That's awesome. What can we do as bartenders and bar owners and in the bar business to swing the Generation Z younger people to back into bars? Because I had heard that we're at like 100-year lows of people going to bars.
Yeah, and I've heard that too, and they definitely didn't take that poll in La Crosse, Wisconsin. That's for sure.
No, absolutely not.
you know, everybody's gotten so accustomed to being on their phones all the time. And I think that's because we've transitioned to that. I think that's some of why people have gotten, for lack of a better word, shittier people. Um, because the keyboard warriors that can just talk crap to somebody without the repercussions of being punched in the face. Not that I'm condoning that, but that's the bar culture, back in the day, and you know, I would say bar fights and stuff, I think, are way, 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 way down as well. I mean, it's not like nothing like what it used to be. I have 1,229 bars in Wisconsin. I believe 1,283 bars total across the U.S. that I've hit. I haven't seen a bar fight yet. So a lot of times I'm not out late, but I the with this AI stuff, it's getting so crazy, and even like seeing bars post pictures of their menu, like I'm here to get your AI cheeseburger that looks so great. Like, I don't that's getting out of hand. But I think maybe if we go through a stretch where everything seems fake, maybe people will want the realness and want to come back into bars. I don't know. Like I said, I just turned 49 here the end of May, and I'm a social drinker. I can't just sit at home and drink beer. I love the social aspect that the bars bring, whether it's, just sitting down to your local bar and chatting with, I don't get to see my locals much anymore just because I'm on the road so much, but you might have a musician that's, you just sit there and just a vibe, or inviting friends over and, sitting around a campfire and just drinking some beers and making some s'mores and grilling out. And I thrive on the social, like, interaction. But I just think there's so many people that are, now, in their early 20s that just, don't want the interaction. And I don't know if COVID had something to do with that, where, we treated everybody like they were a caged animal and we had to stay in our own corner. I don't know. I'm sure that was some of it, but I don't know that there's an easy way to get the younger kids back out. I know one way that will maybe help, and that's doing exactly what I'm doing on social media.
I agree. I think that people want to go out and see a bar that you may have gone to. I just want to give you a shout out too on this too, because when you were here in Ferryville, we have three bars. We have the Dive on 35, we have the Sweet Swing Inn, we have the Wooden Nickel. And the video that you posted from the Dive on 35 was the last time that I saw my friend Kurt. He passed away shortly after you were
Oh,
here, and just watching that video, even just right now talking about it, I got goosebumps, and I get a little tear in my eye and a little lump in my throat. But it was
yeah.
pretty awesome to see him just in the background of the bar there, and I thought that was
Hmm.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things too that people don't realize. Like, even like January 1st, I did a meet and greet, an meet and greet at a bar, UW Wanderers, out just outside of Amory, Wisconsin here. And I did a appearance there. I let people know I was going to be there, and then, like, I don't even know what the exact date was. I was actually in Milwaukee for the Yingling First Pour event. Woke up the next morning and my phone had blown up. And the UW Wanderers bar that I was at January 1st had burned to the ground. And that's that's when it really hit me that and that was a bar that I had frequented. I'd been there multiple times. If I got within 15 miles of there, I was going to swing in just for a cold one, or maybe some food. And but I think there's a lot of other people that realize, like, this building's gone. It was an old schoolhouse. I believe it was a schoolhouse from like 1906 to 1963 ish, 1967. And then was turned into a basement bar. The bar's gone. It'll never be the same. My video, I've reviewed that place three times. Been two bars that I've reviewed three times: that place and the Plywood Palace. Um, I reviewed the place the one time, and then they have a big outbuilding. I was there last summer, last May, and I had never been in the outbuilding, and they had a graduation party there. So I thought, well, I'm going to re-review it, and, like, so I can showcase this giant, beautiful outbuilding that they have. And then when I was there for that meet and greet, I did it again just because there were so many people there, and everybody knew I was coming. And but now, that bar no longer exists, or they're going to build back without a question. But that video, is now it's like a time capsule. It's you know the memories that people have of that place. You know, I'm sure there's a ton of pictures out there and maybe some other videos that people have, but sometimes those videos unfortunately, turn out to mean more than just a commercial for a bar, like you know, like you were saying, you know, about your friend, and that's cool for me to hear, and I feel something a little here too when you
I
say
saw
that, and
when I told you that
yeah,
I saw that.
yeah.
Do you have a favorite bar, Jared?
People ask me that all the time, but I'm thinking right now I can probably say my favorite bar was a bar that I recently hit in Maryland when I was out. When I went out, flew out to Baltimore to do the Yingling Brewery tour. I don't know if you saw the video, Irv's Basement Bar in Pasadena, Maryland.
I saw. I watched it. I actually
Um,
watched your addition to it this morning. Actually,
yeah. 102 years old. Irv will be 103. I thought he was 103. He'll be 103 in August. World War II vet. Um, he's had the place for 63 years. The oldest bartender in the history of the world after doing some research. Um, just wow. Wow. Just wow. I've seen so many incredible places in Wisconsin too, but 102 years old. 102 years and 9 months old. Incredible. And the cool part is when we were going to fly out there to go to Pottsville, Pennsylvania, we were going to fly into Philly. Yingling was going to fly me out to Philly. For some odd reason, airplane flights were insanely, they were way overpriced. So instead, we flew to Baltimore because it was like $350 cheaper, $300 cheaper round trip. So we flew into Baltimore. Had we not flown into Baltimore, I would have never ran into Irv's Basement Bar in Pasadena. Once we got out there, it turns out the reason the tickets were so expensive to go to Philly was because we just happened to pick the same exact week to go out there that the PGA Tour Championship was out in that area and the NASCAR race was in Dover. We actually drove after we left Irv's, we drove right by the racetrack in Dover a couple hours after the race was over with. So had we picked a different weekend that those weren't going on, we would have flew into Philadelphia. We'd have never been to Irv's Basement Bar. So it's pretty cool how sometimes things work out. Uh, how things work out, even though things didn't work out, you know, per se, kind of
right.
thing. Um, but I've you know I've been to so many incredible places and met so many amazing people. I just got back from a road trip up north too. I can't wait. I've got two more videos to post from my Pennsylvania trip. I hit so many dang bars, and I can't wait to get back to posting Wisconsin bars again. And there's been a few people give me some flack about reviewing bars that aren't in Wisconsin. Like, oh well, you're gonna have to change your name. Well, tell the NFL they're going to have to change their name because they're playing international games and they're the National Football League. So, um, but yeah, I to me, I love going out and checking out other states to see what the bar culture is.
Absolutely.
Um, you know, I've hit one in, you know, I've hit, like I said, 1,229 in Wisconsin, one in Illinois, three in Minnesota, 34 in Arizona, one in Delaware, four in Maryland, and 14 in Pennsylvania. Um, I love seeing the different bar culture. I absolutely do. Wisconsin does it, I think, better than anybody else. But I tell you what, man, Philly's got some great bars. Pennsylvania's got some great bars. I was really really impressed with what I saw, and I gotta ask Eagle fans too. Like we all know Eagles fans, they booed Santa Claus for crying out loud, and
Hey,
they've
that's what I do in December is play Santa. So this is what I
yeah.
give to them.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is. Do they, when they put the jersey on, does it make them instant assholes? Because everybody I met out there in Pennsylvania was so damn nice. The feel of you know the people in the bars, like how nice they were and how easily I can strike up a conversation with total strangers was right there with Wisconsin. Um, and maybe it's because it's baseball season and the Phillies are playing well right now. So maybe that's why everybody was in a good mood. But had it been November and the Eagles were 2-6, it may have been a little bit different story. I don't know, but I will say I was truly truly impressed with everybody whether I was in downtown Philly or if I was on the outskirts or an hour and a half outside of Philly. I was truly impressed on how well I was treated out there. So hats off to them.
That's like, well, you're a good dude. Shake of the day. Do they have shake of the day other bars besides Wisconsin, or is that it?
Illinois, absolutely not. That
Iowa
is,
too. Iowa doesn't do it either.
yeah. I don't know if, gosh, I don't know if Minnesota even does it, but I do know for a fact that Illinois, it is illegal. Like, not only do they not do it, it is illegal. Um, but I mean, and no pull tabs in Illinois either. See, Minnesota and Wisconsin are huge on pull tabs. And Minnesota might even be bigger on pull tabs than Wisconsin is. Um,
Well, they have a like a special person selling them. For us, we have a machine in the
and
bar. People put their money in, and we pay
yes,
them out if they win.
yeah.
You ever won you ever won shake of the day?
I have actually. Now it hasn't been anything big. I know there was a bar that I hit down in southeastern corner of the state, and I won it. We were there. Gosh, what was there? Me, my fiance, my friend Nicole, and her boyfriend Dan. I think maybe just the four of us were going out. Maybe my friend Sammy was with too. But anyway, there was like five. There was like maybe 6, 7 people in the bar, and I win the shake a day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I wonder what the heck this is. And the bartender said, well, somebody actually just won it the other day too, and I think you get like half of the pot. And I think it turned out to be it was like $48, and it turned out I won just enough money to buy me and my group of people and everybody else in the bar a drink, and I think there was like $7 or $8 left, and that went to a tip to the bartender. So, um, but yeah, as far as a big one, no, I don't. I've maybe won it a few times, but I know there was a bar that I won a shake a day, and they had one of those giant tubs of the cheese balls that you can get at like Sam's Club or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
and they had a bunch of the fingers in. Not the pull tabs, the fingers. You know what I think that's what they're referred to. And they had a bunch of
Just the
those in there. And
the single tabs, right? Is that what you
yeah,
mean
there's
by
there's
fingers?
three in each. Yeah, there's three in each one. But yeah, you just pull the little paper band that's around them. Um, so and I think they might add to that every day or something. And there was maybe 150 of them in there, maybe 200, and I won that. And I got whatever I got in there, and it was. I know I pulled a $75 win. I think I maybe won like $85 or something out of that. So it wasn't nothing crazy,
Right. Am I
but
missing anything? Anything else I should be asking you about?
gosh, I don't know. I think we probably covered it all, didn't we?
We
Yeah,
covered a lot of stuff. Hey, I do
yeah.
have to say, so I work in Ferryville, but I also work every other week up in La Crosse at Adam Street Pub.
Okay,
Have you ever done that? You ever
I
done
haven't been there.
review?
No.
Well, when you're up for Country Boom, give me a buzz. I'll meet you there. I'll buy a couple of Yinglings.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, we should Thursday. We probably won't have time. Friday, probably typically go out. I usually go out and I'll hit 3, 4, 5 bars before I go to Country Boom. But this year I probably won't have to. Um, we'll go out and grab some lunch somewhere, and I'll do a video. But I should be able to stockpile some
Barrel Inn. Go
content.
to the Barrel Inn for lunch. If you're going to be in La Crosse,
Okay.
Barrel Inn, best burgers by far.
Yeah, and I know Country Boom is out in Bangor now. They're moving it out there. I want to get back up to Leo and Leona's. That's a
That's a cool place to go.
Yeah, and I haven't been there in like 3 years. So um that's just another iconic place. And sometimes I go to these places where it's like, man, I was there 3 years ago, and I mean, 4 years ago. I was just at a bar Saturday morning that I was at 4 years ago. That's iconic. But I had like 10,000 followers when I was there. Now I've got over 560,000 followers. Um and I gotta come back. The Anchor Bar in Superior. Have you ever been there?
I I don't know if I have or not.
Okay, that's an iconic place. I went there. They opened up at 11 on Saturday morning, so I was there right at 11 o'clock. So it was nice. I didn't have to wait too long to get my food. They do a 6 ounce burger. So it's almost half a pound, 3/8 of a pound. So it's a good sized burger. I got a bacon cheeseburger. For 7.75, I added fries for another $1.75. So it's hand cut fries. So I got,
Cheap.
I mean, I was stuffed for 9.50.
That's an
Um,
awesome deal.
so and they do what did I have to edit that video yet. They do between 1,000 and 1,500 pounds of hamburger a week, and between 1,600 and 2,000 pounds of potatoes a week, and 200 pounds of bacon.
It's a lot of food.
And
So
it's
I
and it's a, and it's a dive bar. It's a there's so much stuff on the walls. It's an awesome place.
have
You'll love that video when I drop it.
I will definitely take a look for that. So I let me ask you this, and I'll wrap it up here. What was your favorite dive bar food that you've had at any place?
That is a great question. I mean, I've had a lot of great burgers. I've had some great steak, fish. I would say, man, maybe because it's a dive bar. I feel like it's half dive bar, half supper club. Greystone Castle in Sturgeon Bay. They had prime rib, and it was just a slab, and it was like an inch and a half thick, and that was, I believe, that was bar number 700 that I hit last January, um, a little over a year ago. But I would say that I would throw the spam fries in there just because they're so different. Um, the wings at the Sports Nut in Lacrosse
They're
blew me
awesome.
away.
And they've
Um,
got way great flavors, man. Excellent
yeah,
flavors on there.
yep. And then a bar that I recently I've reviewed it probably 3 months ago, the Emporium on Exit 4 in Hudson. They have a steak night there on Thursday nights from 5 to 9. They have Wisconsin's largest indoor charcoal grill, so your steaks are charcoal grilled.
I saw that
You can go in
video.
there, get a 14-ounce New York strip steak, mashed potatoes and gravy, grilled green beans, and a salad for $25.
That's a hell of a deal.
Or you can get an 8-ounce filet mignon with all every bacon wrap filet mignon, for $28 for $3 more. So amazing place. And when I was there, the owners actually told me, since my review there, I would say I was probably back in February, late February, beginning of March. They said their sales have gone up 40% since my review,
Wow.
um, which is incredible. They said not only on Thursday night with our steak nights, like our lunch crowd has gotten bigger. Like we get more people randomly stopping in. Maybe those people come in and had steak, and well, holy crap, the steak was amazing. Like, what are they? I know they have great wings there too. Um, but that feedback is the type of stuff, like, gives me goosebumps thinking about. That's exactly why I do what I do. That stuff, when I feel like I'm worn out and I'm worn down and like I can't push another day, that feedback just energizes me to get right back on the road and keep on going, because that's exactly why I do what I do.
That's so awesome, Jared. I appreciate your time today. I know that you're a busy guy. I give this conversation 10 Yanglings out of 10.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, it was great seeing you. That was a crazy road trip that I did. Actually, let me think. Seven. So one, two, three, four, five, six. I bet you the swing in was bar number 706.
I'm gonna go back and look because if it was,
Um, I could show you. I probably have it on my spreadsheet, because I was at that place just west of Prairie du Chien, or just east of Prairie du Chien. That was bar number 700. Um, the old little log cabin place, something horse, something.
was it
Um,
horse fault? Was it this I horseshoe
might be, yeah. It's a little
in
log cabin
Wazika?
looking place.
Okay.
Yeah, I might have been a Prairie du Chien. I can look it up, but yeah. So I know I went in. I don't think I hit another bar there. I hit two bars in Prairie du Chien, and then so you guys were north of Mitchell's Liquor Box.
Yep.
So I hit Mitchell's Liquor
John
Box.
Mitchell's a hell of a guy too, man.
Yeah, that's a great place. I don't even know if that minnow came out. There's no proof that it did, so maybe it's still in here. I don't know, because I did that minnow shot. But so yeah, so the two in Prairie du Chien would be 701, 702. Then Mitchell's Liquor Box would be 703. The dive on 35, 704. So were you guys 705 or 706?
I don't
Uh,
know. One of the that's pretty awesome. What a great memory.
yeah, the
What a
Wooden
great.
Nickel. I was there. It was somebody's birthday. It was a
It was
birthday
Kelly's.
party.
I stopped.
Yeah.
So I worked last night. I stopped over there after work and had a beer before I came home. And Kelly said, I told her that I was interviewing you, and she said, "Yeah, he was here for my birthday."
Yeah. See, like it's crazy when and that was, I can't believe that was 525 bars ago.
And you remember it. That's Jared.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is so crazy. I appreciate your time. I'm going to give this a stop.